Mine says SOS, whatever that stands for. I know what I think it stands for, but. Okay, I have 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you know when they added "under God" to the quote to the pledge? It was a Jeopardy question today. Anybody know?
1947.
Close. 1954. All right. That's trivia for the night. We'll start doing that, I think. All right, Teresa, take the roll.
Okay, Mayor Jones.
Here.
Keel.
Here.
Boen.
Here.
Berens. Here. Mattson. Here. Jass.
Yes.
And Horn is running a little late.
Yep.
Oh, he just walked through the door. Horn is.
All right, and Horn is here. Run!
Say yes. Say yes. All right.
All right, do we have any additions or motions from the council on the agenda for the first meeting?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Berens?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right, minutes from the 4:15 meeting. Any action from the council?
Motion to approve 4:15 minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll let you guys vote first. Jazz?
Yes.
Berens?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, no bills, Karen?
No bills.
Any public comment on anything that's not on this first agenda? Seeing none, we'll move down to old business, which is oath of office. I'll be darned, here's mine. There's yours, Ryan. Hand this down to Shaun. And Michelle, we'll have you come up when we get done, all right? I'll do mine first. How's that? I can remember, I haven't read one of these for a couple of years. I, Arden Jones, having been elected unopposed to the office of mayor within the city and town of Hartford in said county and state, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, the ordinances of the city of Hartford, and I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of mayor. Glad to be at her for another 2 years.
Suppose I'm next.
Yeah, we'll let you go next, Ryan.
This always throws me off here. I, Ryan Horn, having been elected unopposed to the office of councilperson Ward 1 within and for the city of Hartford in said county and state, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinance of the city of Hartford, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson Ward 1.
All right.
I, Shaun Boen, having been elected unopposed to the office of Councilman Ward 2 within and for the city of Hartford, in said county and state, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinances of Hartford, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of Councilman Ward 2.
All right. All right, Michelle, you want to come up? There's yours, and you can just turn right around in front so everybody can see you.
Gotta get the bifocals going. All right. I, Michelle Edgecomb-Schilling, having been elected unopposed to the office of councilperson Ward 3 within and for the city of Hartford in said county and state, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinances of said Hartford. and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson, Ward 3.
You signed that one right on that, that line right there. Yep. All right, we have a couple folks going off. We will present them with certificates, and if they'd like, they can say anything. Well, no, I better not say that. Lisa, thank you for your 1 year. When I called you, you thought I was crazy, I think at first, but you ended up saying yes, and I'm glad you did. It's been great to have you. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you for the opportunity. It was
Bet.
a privilege to serve for 1 year.
And as Travis said at the assessment meeting,
That's your wheelhouse.
you were in your wheelhouse. She really helped us with some of that information, and that was really great. Jake, thank you. 2 years, 10 months, and maybe some days. Thank you. Again, Jake is another one that I recruited, and we needed him in Ward 3, and we had to wait for him to move.
Yep.
So he moved to Ward 3, we put him in at the first meeting after he moved, and it's been great. It's been good to have you.
Thanks, sir.
Congratulations.
Did you get that, or?
No, I didn't get that.
Oh, okay.
Way too quick. Perfect.
All right.
All right. Here's my request. I want the full tour of the wastewater treatment plant once it's complete.
Got it.
So you guys loop me in on that?
You bet. You
I'm
got
really
it.
excited we got that, pretty much across the finish line here, so.
You bet.
Thanks, Jake.
It's good, yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
We got to adjourn officially, or?
Yep. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we'll adjourn
Give me a
that
chance to
one.
get my name on that roll as I can.
There you go. Thanks, you guys. All right, Michelle, you can,
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
thanks, Lisa. Yeah, she might have
Anchor the end of the table there.
Yeah.
she might even have a
I drive by
thing for
about
you.
5 times a day.
Thanks, Jake.
Yep, we'll see you soon.
See ya.
All right, we will reconvene the second meeting, or the, I don't know what, we don't call it the official meeting, but the first meeting of the new term. New term. All right, Teresa, please take the roll.
Okay, Mayor Jones.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Horn.
Here.
Boen.
Here.
Mattson. Here. And Schilling. Here.
All right. Boy, that took a little time, so now we can move right down to our stuff. First up, we have hearings, applications, agreements, resolutions, and ordinances. The first one is a 7:05 public hearing on renewal of malt beverage licenses for 25-26. Information's in the packet. Marked approved by staff.
Do we need to list all of the entities, or can we just say the list?
I said, as presented, you could do it that way unless you want to.
I make a motion to approve the renewal of the malt beverage licenses as listed for 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right. Next up is I'm right there, ain't I? 7:10, public hearing on amendment number 2 to tax increment financing for District 1 of Maple Pass Addition. This is a second increase, would that be the way to
Correct.
explain that, Tom?
Yes.
This is on Maple Pass, they're doing, and the information and map is in the packet. We did a TIF with these guys, what was that first one, 3 years?
22, yep.
22?
2022, yep.
Mark, you want to come up, just in case we want to?
Sure can.
Oh, we got some, did you give us something on this?
Yeah, I printed out the copy of the
Yeah,
plan, just because it's a little hard to see on the computer.
I've got some larger copies, I've got a couple with that. You guys wanna share?
Yep, that's just fine. Thank you.
This is the sidewalk. Where's the sidewalk, Mark? Is that here? No.
So what we'd proposed, we would add sidewalk. So we closed last Thursday with Quickstar,
Okay,
so that's a go.
yep,
And essentially, we would build out this Oakley
yep,
here and Willow here, about 300 feet. That would complete all development in the TIF district.
okay.
This, I don't know if you have seen plans, or if the council's seen plans, the 150 acres immediately to the east
Right.
is planned, I don't know, I talked to the developer at the end of January, they're planning late summer, fall
Right,
to start development. So this would give utilities and access to the west side of that development. It'll be single-family homes, but sizable addition to the community. So this will bring utilities. We're not asking for any developer support on our utilities or street improvements there, but we will bring everything to the property line for them, so.
wow, that's awesome.
And we've got a meeting set up with them next week or something, right? With that other developer? Did I read that? Okay.
All right. So this, Tom, you reviewed this, everything from your standpoint?
Yes, and we went to, if you remember, the developer agreement and the loan agreement with the first portion of the TIF requires the payments to first go to satisfy the debt associated with the apartment complex.
Right.
Development as it came in. They reached an agreement with the lender. They're okay with this additional amount being advanced. Again, those obligations under the first portion of the TIF will have to be paid first.
Yep.
If there's a shortfall in revenues, it'll have to be made up by the developers
Right.
on this second portion.
Developer finance everything.
Yep.
We understand that, especially for the first couple of years, with the discretionary formula on these, that we're probably gonna have to subsidize that. And that's
Right.
no issue on our end.
Okay.
Just appreciate the consideration.
Well,
We did, like I said, we did close on the 4.5 acres on the south side of that. We have 4 interested parties on the north 3 lots. We've got a professional building, developer looking at a strip mall. We've got a couple of tenants for them. And then a couple of lenders looking at a lot there as well, so.
Lenders or bankers?
What's that?
Lenders or bankers?
Well, there's I don't know if it's a credit union or a bank. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or one of each, or I don't
Financial
know exactly.
institutions.
What's that?
Financial institutions.
Financial institution.
this is kind of an aside, Mark, but how are you guys, Maple Pass? How's the residency or the occupancy? Is that rolling along pretty well?
It has been. We've been around 94, 96%.
Okay.
So with turnover, we had a dip in October just because of so many one-year renewals. We were down in the high 80s for a short term.
Right.
But it's just kind of that 1 month turnover. So we've been really pleased with that. And that's the other piece of this, that the original TIF was based on Maple Pass Phase 1. And you can see on that map is that red outlined area. That's actually our Phase 2 area.
Right.
Which would mirror what's there. So at some point with that development and a few of these other lots, I believe that this TIF will certainly fast track. And we have a 20-year term, but I think that with that increment, the number of businesses and that value, that tax value that'll bring, you can certainly fast track that.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 2 to tax increment financing district number 1, Maple Pass Edition.
Second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Keel.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you, Mark. Can we keep these?
Sure.
When will there be an announcement soon, do you think?
That's a great question. We've inquired. I'm not certain if they're gonna break ground. They've really been honest to get this road in and wrap it up. So hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days, that road will be complete.
Okay.
Through there, will certainly help us market those 3 north lots.
Right.
But they've been quite anxious for us to get things buttoned up. But that's no guarantee if it's this year or next year, depending on their construction
Right.
schedule and economy. But looking at what they have planned, and it's about an 11,000 square foot store, diesel islands, gas islands, so sizable.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you much.
You bet.
Thanks for coming.
All right, next we are to the 7:15 hearing, special package wine license for Converse Wine Company, LLC. Teresa, you want to give a little background while I'm scrolling here?
Sure. Basically, this city received this application. They want to attend the first downtown market, farmer's market there. They sell wine, so basically, I assume they're gonna give out samples of their wine, but you can do that for free under a certain amount, and then obviously sell the wine. They'll need this special license in order to sell the bottles of wine there, so that's what they've applied for.
Is it Converse or Converse?
Converse, I think. If they're from Arlington, that's the,
C-O-N-V, yeah.
Yeah.
They're from Arlington.
I mean, I grew up in
Look
Lake
at the
Preston, so I'm
application.
almost an Arlington kid.
That's what they put on their house.
Converse is a shoe, Converse is a disguise.
How you pronounce it?
No, I think it is Converse.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, yeah.
We'll ask her at the first or her or him or whoever
Right.
at the first farmer's market.
Motion to approve special package wine license for Converse Wine Company,
Let's go
LLC.
with that. All right, got a motion, do we have a second?
I second it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Do I have to abstain because I'm on that committee?
That's a great question.
You can, we've got 4 yeses.
You're gonna abstain? Okay, yep.
Chief financial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, first meeting, she's already caught, look at the cost of First meeting. Already. Right out of the gate.
Already racking up
Man.
fees.
I'll tell you.
I mean, of course I'm gonna say yes to that.
All right, we'll move on. The next item is special event permit. We'll call it permits for Jamboree Days, for special event application, also for their liquor or malt beverage license, and request for funds. Leah, you want to just step on up and we'll have a little discussion.
All right, the only thing different on the schedule that we got notice of last week is the sanctuary farm. She's having a medical procedure done that week, so does not know that she'll be able to do the sanctuary farm, so.
Okay.
Only difference in that, like I said, she just found out her medical procedure stuff.
Okay.
Remind me what that?
It was petting, was that a petting?
It was,
farm,
she didn't really
or-
want to call it a petting zoo, but it is for the, like, the smaller animals.
Yeah,
so
got
that
it.
kids can,
Yep,
but we have her on there for next year, so she was kind of bummed, but I mean,
okay,
you have to have something done, gotta have something done, and you go back with the doctor. so.
correct.
I do want to bring up, we had the discussion at the last meeting about possibly having a free pool day there.
Oh, that's right.
I did talk with Amy about it. She doesn't see any issues with it. We would fully staff it and then just count the numbers like we did during COVID. We have a counter back, so she said, you know, if they get to capacity, they'll just have to turn people away, and then when people leave, let some more in and whatnot. She, you know, if you guys do approve that, it'd be okay. She does want to know if it's for the afternoon and the evening, or just afternoon, or what, just so she knows.
I was thinking, we were just thinking afternoon.
It's afternoon session.
The evening's like a rental
Is
typically,
it what?
right? Don't they rent out in the evening? No, they have it open, don't they?
We have open swim in the evening.
That's right.
After that's over, you can like have it for pool parties or
That's what I
whatnot.
was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you kind of get your choice there, but we do have evening hours too.
All right, we should probably deal with these one at a time. So the first one's for the special event, and if, when we motion that, if we want to include the pool afternoon, right?
Yeah.
We have to vote on that? We have to vote on that?
Well, I would just include the special event.
In the special
With free
event,
open
just
swim that Saturday afternoon.
Make a motion to approve the Jamboree special event permit, including free afternoon swim at the community pool.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right.
I just want to confirm for our schedule, are you guys okay that I put that on the schedule that we have free afternoon swim?
Yes.
Yep.
I'll advertise it.
Advertise it.
It's kind of what I thought, but I wanted to confirm.
Nope,
Yep.
yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the Jamboree application for special malt beverage license.
Second.
Any discussion? This is the same times as you always do, right?
Yep, we always do the Friday, we start around that 2 PM time and we go
Yep.
till midnight, even though the band's done around, or everything's done around 11. We try to give that 1 hour so we can kick everybody out. Same thing with Saturday night, we go till midnight, but again, give that hour to move everybody out. So that's why you see that Sunday,
Yep.
that little.
Little bit, blip over, yeah.
Yep, just to cover it.
Perfect. Anything, any questions, any comments from anybody? If not, we'll vote. Mattson.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right, and then the last one is to ask for your dough, right?
Yep. As you can see, there's a few items that have been filled in, but we don't start writing a lot of checks until we go.
Right.
Gets to be kind of a crazy week, but
Motion to approve the $5,000 funding request as budgeted and presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Well, it's good that you guys looked at your money and asked for a smaller amount. That's always appreciated.
depending on how much we use, that might not be the case next year.
When? You know,
We don't go too crazy.
I'm setting you up, that's why I said it. All right, hearing nothing else, we'll vote. Mattson.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Leah. We look forward to it.
Great.
I will get our crack parade staff on top of getting our float ready. Cindy?
What's the theme this year?
Rock and roll.
Oh, rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Yeah.
Cindy's engaged.
I'm back in.
You're in.
Disney princess or music, and I'm just
Give
like,
him an 80s hair wig.
uh-huh.
He looked pretty good in that on.
All right, thanks, Leah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move down to second reading of ordinance 763. This is the zoning amendment for residential high-density district. No changes from the first reading?
No changes since first reading. And the only real changes are to two-family dwellings and multifamily dwellings.
Right.
We made the lot size and the lot width a little smaller. Setbacks all stayed the same though.
Right.
Make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 763, zoning amendment to residential high-density district.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right, next up, special event applications, Buffalo Ridge Brewing for some dry car drive-ins that they got scheduled. The first one, in fact, is tomorrow night. Wow.
And Kelly did note that she probably wouldn't be here. She
Yeah.
had another engagement, but it's pretty much the same as the previous years as far as, you know, closing off the street just south of them and allowing alcohol in that closed off area and around their property.
Can we do this as one, since they're all three for the same, similar type of event?
We're good with it?
Motion to approve special event application for Buffalo Ridge Brewing Cruise Nights on May 7th, June 11th, and July 11th of 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right,
Ooh, we're hammering through these.
we are hammering.
We love events.
Yeah, we did.
We
Bring on
love events. All right, we'll move down to reports. Deputy Jonah is here.
Long time.
Congratulations on the new baby.
Yeah,
Good to have you back.
it's good to be back, sort of.
Sort of. We can edit that out in final, oh, we can't, we're live streaming. Your boss has seen that already.
This was taken from March 21st to April 30th. There were 222 calls for service. There were 5 accidents, all were without injury. There were 3 domestic/assaults. That was a decrease of 3. There was a burglary, 3 vandalisms. There were 59 traffic stops, 4 frauds, forgeries, identity thefts, things that are in that realm.
Yep.
We had 3 arrests, 14 citations, 9 citations, and then 14 case reports, and then
Okay.
1 warrant service. It was pretty quiet when I was gone.
Yeah.
Came back and there were only like 3 or 4 cases and then home.
Yeah. I got a couple things. The little scooters that they stand on and drive, the little electric scooters.
Yeah.
I don't suspect there's any ordinance or control over them. Man, when they're riding, and they're quiet, when they're riding right down the street, my wife was backing out tonight and had turned far enough so her camera didn't pick it up, and one of them came whizzing right past her door. I mean, I don't want to be negative, we're gonna have somebody get hit.
Right.
I don't know what we do.
That's probably something, just call us and we can maybe go talk to them and talk to parents, hey, this is something that's going on, like, if they can't just be flying down sidewalks, they gotta be paying attention as if they're crossing the street.
Right. So the other one I'm gonna bring up is motorized little dirt bikes and four-wheelers running right down the sidewalk.
Yep, so those can't be, if they're 50 cc, they cannot be on the streets or the sidewalks. I think there's a city ordinance against them being on anything like motorized like that. You know.
If they're 50 or under, or 50 or over?
50 or over.
Okay. Boy, these are little, but they're motorized.
I'm sure, I don't even know if there's, like, I would have to, you don't know until you look at them what
Right.
cc they are. But I think like the things that are under 50 cc are like those ones that like 5-year-olds can drive.
These are motor, I mean, you can hear them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear them coming, but same deal.
Yeah.
They're running right down the sidewalk. Somebody's gonna be backing out of the garage and not see them. I mean.
Call those in too, because that way we can try and locate them. If you try and see where they go. You can
Yeah.
always follow them too and see where they go, and then, hey, they went to this house, we know they
Right.
went to this house. And,
Right.
That way we can.
I mean, I'm not a big one on, I don't want us to over-government or heavy hand, but son of a gun, I'm I'm more fearful
Right.
that somebody's gonna get hit. I'm more fearful that we're gonna have somebody get hit.
Well, I remember having that conversation last year, kids riding their bike on the road. But then there was an accident almost happened, but there was no sidewalks for the kids to ride on.
Correct.
So it's.
Not supposed to ride your bike on the sidewalk, Shaun. That's supposed to go through.
Is that an ordinance? I know, is that an ordinance?
Deputy?
It's not
Wait, on
motorized,
Phillips?
so-
Could you ride your bike on Phillips Avenue on the sidewalk, or?
No.
People do.
Yeah.
Jenna's like, don't ask me, don't put me in the middle of it.
Your ordinances.
I
So,
think there's something that we could,
sidewalks are for walking.
where we could have an education.
Well, I wondered,
Because
yeah.
we have like the safety down at the fire station, but maybe we aren't incorporating the electronic scooters or some way to incorporate additional education within the community that, parents, we really need to educate your kids, you need to know, otherwise further steps are gonna have to be taken,
Right.
So I know our community engagement committee is gonna do, so they used to do the bike rodeo around like the safety event time, but we got all the helmets from that, and our community engagement committee is probably gonna put up a bike rodeo sometime, so I can talk to them about it and see if they can
Yeah.
implement something like that, and hopefully, I don't know how many parents go to those, but I would assume that their kid is, I would assume they're not sending them there alone. but-
Right. Well, it's just, yeah, and maybe it's my age and I got grandkids, so I'm starting to, I don't wanna see somebody get.
Right, and like working this job, I mean, you see some of the stuff you don't wanna see, and
Yeah.
then, like, you see, like, I was sitting on Mickelson one time and I saw those kids on the dirt mound, it's like, it's legal for them to do that, but it's like, you just think of, what if this happened, what if that happened?
Right.
and
Right.
About that, yeah, it's taking a few feet off that dirt mound, it looks like. They've got that thing. Down.
It's scattered, it's scattered pretty good.
Yeah. On a similar note, have you been paying attention at all to the detour that we've got going down South Main? Okay. What are your thoughts on that? Just in general, I mean, are you seeing,
One month is
like,
too
I mean,
long.
I guess, I've heard from a couple people, they're like, hey, what if we, lower the speed limit in there during that time?
I think the most beneficial thing, I mean, I've only had one person, well, just make that a temporary four-way stop at Hopewell and Pressman.
Yeah,
That's the only other thing I could think of.
yeah,
I'm mainly focusing on trucks right now.
yeah.
Keeping them out of there.
Yeah, that's just a heavy residential area and people get moving through there. I mean, it's just, part
Because
of
I
it.
considered, because there was, I did talk to someone who lives on Cressman, and I had talked with Teresa and these guys about possibly getting like a temporary no parking along there, because it gets kind of congested, but then though, like the person I talked to that lives there, a bunch of them apparently have kids that are around the age of driving, so they're like, we have more than 3 vehicles, so.
Right.
Nowhere to park them out.
We've talked about it, me and Justin, Michael, and that, about doing some signage up there. We think the best thing is just leave it the way it is. It's got a few weeks left and it should be opened up, because if you change it, then you gotta alert people and start training them again that there's not a stop sign there.
Right.
And actually, those vehicles parked there kind of slows
They do
things
slow
down.
it down, yes.
You know what I mean?
They definitely
Yeah,
do.
so.
That's
Yeah, go
very
slow.
true. Yeah, I knew we were gonna have that conversation today too, so I just was curious, but I don't.
And the semis, we've been working on them.
Oh, man.
What
How do they
happened
even
there
make
was,
that corner?
yeah, no, they do, but, yeah. But DOT is the one that screwed that up for us.
Yeah.
They decided to do a yellow project and they should have held back on it.
Yeah, I would agree
Right.
with that, yeah.
Having both the
We've had a
ramps.
lot of conversations with them and everybody else.
Because, I mean, what's that stretch from Humboldt to, what was that, Marion then? I mean, that's
Yeah, they were, I think,
16, maybe 20 miles. So,
Do we have any just like slow signs or flashing that you could set there? That, I don't know, that would help, but might.
We don't have anything like that, but, I mean, like I said, a couple weeks it should be.
Yeah.
So I said a month is too long? I mean,
Boy, there's a lot of traffic when you're down there, like when 5 o'clock-ish. Oh, man, there's a lot of traffic coming down there. And they're coming down Main Street.
That's the other part, is then when they're coming north, they don't turn back towards the fire department, they just keep going on Main, and that creates more congestion too, but I just don't see any, I mean, it's,
What do you do?
I would just, ask you to keep an eye on it. and,
pray for the
you know.
weather, so the
Yeah,
intersection
I mean,
gets
that's,
done quickly,
I
you
think
know?
that's really what we can do,
Got nice weather, so it'll help.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
faster,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
that'll
only
help,
thought
too.
I had was it would be, maybe it'd be interesting to see what the traffic counts actually are.
I wished I would've put them on ahead of time, but
Yeah.
I can throw them on the next couple days, whatever,
Yeah.
just leave them out for the rest of the time.
Yeah, it'd be
and see what we
interesting
do.
to see
Yeah, that'd be
what
good to
kind
hear.
of traffic
Yeah.
is coming down.
If we'd have had them out a couple weeks before that, and then
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
first week, it would have been interesting to see if it's tapering off or.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, anybody else got any questions or comments for Jonah? All right, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, we're gonna move down to the most exciting part of the evening, city engineer report, Michael/Justin.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a busy few weeks since our last meeting. A lot of site observations on the east side of town, some testing there with the utilities that they've put in. Additionally, we did hear back on the TAP grant. That agreement is later in the packet for your council action. Moving on to project updates on the water resource recovery facility at the lift station. Equipment installation is underway within the vault itself, and then the pump control panel and generator have been installed. At the Aeromod, an Aeromod rep was actually on site a couple weeks ago and gave what's currently installed a positive report. The Cascade UV structure, electrical has been installed, and the aerator device has been delivered. And lastly, the operations building, the reuse water piping, and lab and office area painting has been completed, and the ceiling grid has been installed and the ceiling work is underway. Moving on to the Highway 38 water main extension, with the rain and the weather changing, Craig, Ari, and the Cyworks crew met May 2nd just to review the punch list items as some ponding areas were identified in the ditches, so we're working with them to get those remedied before we close out the project. Moving on to Western Avenue, Phase 1 water and sanitary sewer installation is complete, and the contractor is currently working on installation of storm sewer. I'm sure you've seen it kind of scattered at all ends of the project. So they're working on that. Anticipate, if weather holds, to be through the storm sewer either late this week or early next, and then looking to wrap up Phase 1 end of May, early June, based on current progress. As noted in the last item, we are monitoring traffic through the construction and adjusting it as necessary as concerns and comments do come in. So we are keeping an eye on that and doing as much as we can with the Highway 38 ramp closures. So trying to stay on top of it to the maximum extent practical. No update on the parks this evening. If you've had a chance to review and have any questions, happy to answer those. But if not, we'll move on to Swenson Park, the last item. Survey is complete on that, and design is currently underway. Geotech indicated that they were out today collecting those soil samples for the determine the cement stabilization ratio, what percent incorporated, and then anticipate about a 2 to 3 week turnaround for their report, which will align nicely with progression of the construction documents.
This is my first go around with cement stabilization. What do we do? What does that do? How do we do it?
Essentially, what they do is they will put a layer of cement on the top of the earth, and then they come through basically with think of it as a mixer, right? And they're incorporating that into the top foot or so of the earth, and what that does, it makes a really low grade cement. Typically, the soil can support a load of 100, 200 pounds per square foot, whereas Cement stabilization can typically bring it up over 1,000, so it does greatly increase the bearing capacity of that soil, which does help limit potholes and extend the life of it.
It's just powered spent, so you didn't want to distribute it out and tune it in.
It's great, but it's messy, that's why we don't use it everywhere. So there's a lot of dust that's generated, that's why we're not using it on Western Avenue or some of our residential areas, or side of town.
You see it more in parking lots, stuff like that.
So how thick is it? How much do they pour?
It's not very much.
They pretty much just blend it in.
Oh, okay.
Our
half
filler.
inch.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let it set?
8 inches. Recommend that.
Okay.
Like our intent on that is just to have a really good
Base.
base on that for
Yep.
future roadway, so.
All right.
And that could change with the soil borings
Yep.
too.
Yep.
We have good soil borings up there. We got a couple questions if you're done with your updating. Since it's fertilizer season, I was thinking about malogranite, or is that how you say it? Milogranite, not malogranite, whatever it is? Yeah, okay. So, are we able to get, did I remember, are we able to get that from the new treatment plant?
So there is a plant, I believe, that's up in Michigan that does process their waste into a fertilizer. I've looked into it a little bit. I'll do some more research on that because that would be a means of some revenue. Obviously, there will be some permitting hurdles and this and that, but
Yeah.
I think it's worth maybe going down a little bit of a rabbit hole and observing, and I can provide a report back on, maybe some pros and cons and kind of see where it goes. So.
Sioux Falls looked into it. Did they? It's costly and it's a lot of paperwork and liability. Well, I wouldn't suggest we package it or not, I'd just say, hey, here's a dumpster, come get it. Well, they can. You can leave it outside. So I was just curious, so when I was, yeah. No, I don't think there's anybody in the state of South Dakota that does it.
Yeah, early on.
I remember that, somewhere anyway, so. And then I had another question. Oh, boy. I'm drawing a blank, so I apologize.
All right. Anything else? Think of it, Ryan?
No, I think I'm good, yeah.
All right. Let's move down to your action items there, Michael, if you want.
Sure. First up is pay application number 19 to Rice Lake Construction for the Water Resource Recovery Facility project. This is an payment application in the amount of $950,190 for work completed as noted in the report.
I gotta be close to done signing those big checks, right?
Correct.
There's not much money left. Make a motion to approve pay request 19 to Rice Lake Construction Group for $950,190.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right, what's your second one there, Michael?
The second item for your consideration is change order 1 to D&G Concrete Construction on Western Avenue. This is a price deduct of $6,703.28. This is just a material swap for the water service and related fittings. It's a more cost-effective material to use and preferred by the city. So wanted to get that swapped and save the city some money.
We like deducts.
Yes, we do.
I feel like you set us up on this.
like
Yeah.
You planned this.
Yeah. He's shrewd. He's shrewd.
Motion to approve change order number 1 to D&G Concrete Construction for a deduct of $6,703.28.
Second.
Any discussion on this one?
If it's going from Cooper to Poly, you'd think it would be more, but.
I was wondering which one of you would bring that up.
Cooper, where do you?
We figured we'd hold this fellow right up in our report.
Dang, spell check.
Do we have to, it's a new council year. Should we start a new score tally, Teresa?
Yep, yep.
I thought it'd be at least double that, but.
All right. Hearing none, we will vote on this one. Mattson.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right, what do you got next?
Next is pay application number 1 for Western Avenue project to D&G Concrete Construction in the amount of $209,225.83, largely consisting of removals, mobilization, a little bit of material procurement, and then the first portion of the water and sanitary is noted. So,
All right,
Motion to approve pay app request number 1 to D&G Concrete Construction for $209,225.83.
Second?
any discussion on this one? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
I want to ask a question though before we move on. So with D&G, they're doing the other project too, correct?
Yes.
So is there a mobilization savings for one or the other of us?
I would,
I think it was kind of put in the, I think it just got added in when they did their bid, because they knew that they'd be hopefully.
I got thinking about that the other day. When you told me that they were doing them both, I thought, I wonder.
That was one of the big intentions on having both of those projects completed together by the same contractor, you know.
The other exit and this exit is what I'm talking.
Oh, the other
the
one.
Highway 38, no, that's a different
That's,
contractor.
Oh, I thought they were doing that one too.
No, Prairie States is doing the one on 390.
Never mind.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought you told me. I thought you said that the,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay. I misunderstood. Okay, never mind. I thought it was the same ones doing both and I thought,
I don't think D&D would have been doing that work right now.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No coordination.
Just curious. All right, next up, you got another proposal for us. Looks like for the Kelly Avenue drainage
Yeah, so.
study.
Real quick, this is a drainage study. We talked about that at last council meeting in depth, so based on that conversation, came to you guys with a proposal for that. So it's kind of a 3-part proposal. We're going to get some surveying on that to really identify what our topography is doing, which is going to help inform our stormwater model. The big bulk of this is that stormwater model. It's a critical piece in this area that's helping drive some of these capital improvements. So model the existing conditions and look at our proposed solutions. Generally, we like to try to get 3 proposed solutions, almost a good, better, best. This area may be a little tricky, so it may be a little unique in some of these solutions. So with those solutions, there's going to become a cost estimate phase as well, so help inform our capital improvements thereafter. That cost estimate is going to take that whole street consideration, all of our sanitary, water, storm sewer, and street improvements, and put that all in one. We'll have it itemized, that way we can break it out and try to get that whole picture, get a little bit more clarity to this project to help inform, you know, the capital costs, like we said, and where we want to go with this project thereafter, so.
All right.
We originally had $30,000 in the capital improvement plan for this study. When penciled out all the hours, our proposed fee is $22,500 on this, so.
Motion to approve the proposal for the Kelly Avenue drainage study.
Second?
Any more discussion on this?
So we, just to clarify, we budgeted 30,000 for the year 2024.
For
and then
last
didn't-
year, but we
and then-
didn't expense it because we didn't do the study, so obviously that stayed in reserves.
So it's out there then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing worse than redoing a street to solve the problem and then it doesn't solve the problem.
Right. Hopefully this will give us some answers, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Give us something to go back to the neighbors too, and
Right.
we talk to them at
Right.
the meeting about it.
Yeah.
At what point do we inform that neighborhood that this is occurring?
I think let them do the study so we'll have some answers for them, you know, kind of talk about.
But I mean, nothing preliminary, like there's gonna be a lot of surveying being done,
Oh, I
right?
see what you're saying.
We're going to do a lot of drone survey on this,
Okay.
so they probably won't even know where they're, to be honest.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
This is
There's going to be some of
about
it with the leaf cover that's coming in that we will have to get some ground shots once we do the drone survey. That equipment, it makes it a lot more economical to do that, especially when we're looking at watershed areas, or those bigger areas. So it may not hurt to get some notification off of those landowners, especially when we're looking at our models. We always try to calibrate them to some degree. So if they do have some pictures of some storm events, then we can track back and look at certain days what the rainfall was. relay it back to, those pictures, just to try to calibrate that model. Those models have gotten very, very good, but we also understand, that's not an old picture, so kind of related to those real world conditions is always good. So if they do have pictures, whatever it may be, that they can share with us, will be super helpful.
I think you'll see a lot of pictures.
So now we're saying it's a good idea.
I've seen one.
I wonder if we should, maybe.
We can put a letter together. We
Yeah.
can make a share file Dropbox for people just to put stuff in. That way it probably helps Teresa fill in all those emails and correspondence. So.
Yeah, let's do that,
Even
I
if it's
think.
drone, there's, I don't know how many, there's a fair number of those folks, I think, that are around during the day and
Yeah.
might be disturbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather err on the side of letting them know what's going on, and
Yeah, agreed.
at least they'd have a front end.
Is that Ward 2?
Nope.
That's Ward 3, isn't it?
That's Ward 1? Is that,
No,
It's not Ward 1.
is that 2?
no. It's not Ward 2.
Is it-
I think it's three.
Must be 3 then.
I think it's 3.
Each ward is represented here, so.
It's one of them.
It's 5.
I don't have the map memorized yet.
Is that the county?
Yeah. All right, anything else on this one?
Turns out we don't need to spend anything.
Yeah. All right. If I hear none other, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Boen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right. So you guys have nicked us for a little bit. You got anything else?
Just real quick, I think it's kind of cool to note there was water going through the wastewater treatment facility, so we did have to go through all the lift station. Got water there, started going through and, doing some of that initial testing on it, so.
Okay, awesome.
Making progress. It's pretty cool to see water go through that plant after it's been in construction. for so long, so.
We really got to start talking about when we're going to do our
Yep.
grand open date, because I have some people I want to invite
Yep.
that may have to come from Washington DC. Yeah.
Fancy.
Other than that, we're good.
All right.
You guys have questions for us?
Now, a good tour date would be awesome too, when you think there's.
I would
some
probably
things to look at.
say
there's-
mid-summer, June, July timeframe.
Yeah, I
We're gonna
think
go through
you're-
all of our startup, get everything going, so it's gonna be a lot of action in there, just making sure everything's good. Once we get to that point, the site's really gonna be cleaned up, have some good grading, have all the inner workings, cabinets, everything's gonna show pretty well by June, July, so.
Yeah, we did pump startup last week and supposed to do a blower startup tomorrow.
Okay.
Go through servicing on that. The grinder pump, they had to send back to get a longer wire on it because they're short. So somebody measured wrong. But,
Cut it twice and it was still 2.
yeah. Well, yeah, things are moving along really good. They've got just about all the plumbing, I think, completely wrapped up in the Aeromod. And said they started filling just to start, we have to have them so full tomorrow for the blowers, so wiring those up.
Well, that's exciting.
It's moving along real well.
Never thought we'd get this exciting about wastewater. All right, thanks, guys. We'll move to Craig's report.
I'm just gonna add a couple things, on the lagoons, our pH was below 9, I did send over the results, we took samples last week, I sent the results to Danner, talked to Tom Anderson, supposed to be getting me an email to confirm that we can discharge, but always verbal over the phone, he said we're discharged, so we'll plan on discharging tomorrow. We'll talk to Matt and see if they want any of that water. They've been, in their permit that they had, they could actually take water from the creek and use that, so that's what they've been using. But they might want to drop from the pond here, so I'll check with them, so if they want to fill them completely up or what they want to do.
And that's all set up so you can
Yeah, we've got it.
backflow or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, when we discharge, they've got a pump already set up down there that we can.
Oh, you'll just pump from there to
Just pump
the,
from there into one of the manholes that have gravity.
right to the lift station?
Lift
Okay,
station.
gotcha.
So we'll be working with them on that tomorrow to figure out, but otherwise we will be discharging. So we're gonna try to give her as much water this fall, summer, fall, as we possibly can, so we can get those ponds emptied out. So we'll be working on them.
Yep.
How close to completion is the lift station there on 38?
That's, trying to think what just the grinder pump, I believe, is all that's left up there.
Another street light going in there?
I think there's just the one that's going in there, yeah.
What's that north pole base? There's two pole bases there, one has a light on it, one doesn't.
One's for our sign.
No.
One
Right.
is for the SCADA system.
Oh, yes, that's
So
it.
that kind of-
That'd be an
Oh, not
engineer.
that, you're not talking that one.
So what's?
But isn't there one for our Hartford, we're having a Hartford sign put out there.
Yes, we have that. It's actually in
Yeah.
a shed. As soon as we get the construction done there. and
That's
get
not
the
part of
dirt
this
work-
Okay.
project.
We did have it.
Well, let's figure it in there.
We did have to put a conduit out through that concrete for future signs, whatever.
Okay.
Whether it could even be a weather siren out there eventually, so that's all set up for that.
All right.
Always going on to like parks, we're started working on shelter 4. We're getting, probably be putting steel up on that this week. And we've got the concession stand, we did get it seeded and we are watering that right now. So that's what I got, unless somebody has questions.
Anybody got any questions for Craig?
Just a side comment, Kelly Avenue is Ward 1. So,
Oh, that's why I keep bringing it up.
yeah. You too.
Huh.
That changed,
Yeah, when we redid at the census, yeah, we really changed the.
But that would, that's why I feel compelled to make sure they're informed.
Nice recovery, Travis.
Second, was that a motion? Second.
Yeah. I don't think there was any motions there.
Okay.
All right, Craig, I see you have a couple items here.
Yeah, I got the quote for crack sealing and mastic repair from Highway Improvements. They've been doing our work for years.
Yep.
I did have one out different times and got prices. We're at conferences, I have visited with different towns around the area, and I never tell them our price because we're getting a good deal on it, so.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to get a motion to go ahead with Highway Improvements to do the crack sealing and mastic repair.
He's a local guy too, so.
Yes.
Motion to approve the 2025 crack sealing, mastic, and seal coat quote from Highway Improvement.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right, and then the next one is on the mag water, Craig?
Yeah, the Magwater got a quote again from Bumblebee Gibson. It did go up 10 cents or something. I can't remember what it was in the report, but
That sounds, yeah.
yeah, 10 cents from last year. He's been doing it for probably 25 years in town here. He treats us really well, does a good job. Also, that's the only company around that we can get leg from this time anyway, so.
Okay.
And that leg is basically tree sap, so that gets mixed in.
Yep. All
I
right.
really wish I would have thought of the name Bumblebee Gibson. That is a great name.
Do they usually do Southeastern Avenue with the Magwater? Off of Railroad?
Yeah.
So last year, that road was under construction, I remember, or not that, well, part of that road, half of that road
Yeah.
Way to
was
bring
under
that up, Shaun.
construction.
Yeah, it didn't get done last year.
It didn't get done, but we still got charged the same as if they were going to do it, correct?
We pay per the gallon.
Well, we do pay per gallon.
Yeah, we pay per the gallon.
Okay.
Usually we tell them this so many gallons we think we need,
Right.
whatever. But
Okay.
when he brings it, we'll have him do the parking lots if we're, we pretty much do everything that's gravel in town.
Gotcha, okay.
Some gets a little heavier than others,
Yeah.
We haven't revisited that road for a while. How did everything turn out with putting some drainage and?
I drive by there every now and then. It looks like it's straight in all right now. Most of
Yeah.
the water is staying within the roadway and ditch.
Okay.
Going to the south, I continue to monitor it if you guys hear.
We haven't had any complaints either on it, so.
It's been pretty dry.
We've been pretty dry.
Yeah, we've been pretty dry, that's why.
Long ago, when we had rain on the council meeting, I made sure to drive by.
Okay.
So,
I think
Yeah.
one of the property owners just up and moved and was back with it.
Complaints got less too.
Is that you or your?
Wasn't me.
Okay.
So, motion to approve 2025 Magwater quote from Bumblebee Gibson.
Second.
Oh, Michelle got her first second.
That was her second.
Yeah, second. Oh, she did. Did you second something else?
Yeah.
Any other discussion on this one?
if we can get them to move to town, they gotta be looking for a different place. They're downtown Harrisburg, right?
Yeah. It's a mess, but they're by a railroad, and that's how they get the
Oh,
stuff.
that's why.
That's the real.
Because they rail car that stuff, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Bad idea.
Let's vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right, Craig, anything else?
Nope, that's it, unless somebody has something for me.
Good to hear.
Good enough. All right, Karen?
Yeah, my report's in the packet. The auditors were here today, and they got everything they needed and wrapped up, so they will not be here tomorrow, so that's good. Yeah, and First Interstate Bank agreed to not lower our rate, to extend it another 60 days, so good on that until the end of June on our money market account, so.
Yep.
Other than that.
Anybody got any questions for Karen?
I take the Shaun Boen approach here, because they got down earlier, is our audit gonna be less?
They do a lot of work at their office.
The answer's always no if you don't
They do a
ask.
lot of work at their office.
Okay, all right.
I don't think we've ever had it.
It's just, these guys are so efficient, they
I-
got everything for them, so now
They're
they're.
getting it over, yeah.
Bowen
They do a
approach.
lot of pre-work too.
That could be a group, like,
You could write a book.
bands are named like that sometimes, the Shaun Bowen Project. There we go. All right, thank you, Karen. I see our checks were in our account and they were good, and that's always, that's a bonus, and,
Quickly moved it to a money market that was making 4%.
that's right. All right, city administrator report, Teresa?
I don't have much updates than what's in the packet. Summer help, we pretty much got almost all our positions filled. We got the pool all covered. We have one open public works position, Craig. We got 4 applicants for that though, so Craig is trying to line up interviews and hopefully he can get that filled by the end of this week. And then besides that, the only open positions we'll have is just for we need 2 assistants for the Park and Rec program, which is in July. So we have a little time to find them, but right now I do not have any applicants. Laura Johnson, as we hired the director of that, she's trying to put out feelers to some of the kids in school. So hopefully maybe we can get some applicants. The 2 we have had the last couple of years, they're in college now, and I'm assuming they are branching off into other things. So, but otherwise, hopefully we'll sit pretty good on that. I did put a little note in there about Park and Rec board is still working on the concession stand and who's going to run that. We had a meeting, last meeting with the associations, and kind of none of them wanted to volunteer to take that over. So, like we said before, the Booster Club is covering all the high school games out there, so that's great. And then the only actual games is the Softball Association has games. The rest are all just practices with soccer, like football and whatnot. So we're looking at hopefully maybe the band, 'cause they need to raise money for band trips. I contacted them. There's a suggestion from the school superintendent to contact them first, see if they would cover those games for the Softball Association. They're interested. Talked to Danny he talked with the Music Association, some of the parents, and supposed to get back to me before our next Park and Rec meeting, which will be next week, actually, the 19th. It was moved up a week, so hopefully maybe we can get them to move forward with that. And if not, I think the plan is, of course, Park and Rec Board will talk about, but then throw it out to the other nonprofit associations, school associations, and see if we can line some up enough that way. And that's kind of the gist of it.
Right.
Thing.
So do the bathrooms stay open all the time then for practices and things, or what are we?
The deputies, we worked with them about shutting them down. I don't know if they're shutting them down or not. We haven't asked the guys if they've been open today. Otherwise, first thing in the morning, everything gets opened up and cleaned. So they're open.
Well, it was highly unpopular, I'll bring it up again. Like, are we sure we don't want to put some vending machines out there? Or is that like a?
We have electrical out there for future, it's available. I don't know, we've never really had good luck, I don't think, with vending machines. It seems like we've had them in the park, and if they don't work, then they're trying to get the money, and come to the city and ask for reimbursement. Well, we can't do any of that stuff, so they have to get all, it's been, I don't know if we've had.
We had a couple in the park, the one by the one restrooms got vandalized all the time,
Yeah.
yeah, and they just removed that. The only one they've got now is at the pool. They keep it there in the summer, but they pull it in the winter, just to kind of.
Why, is that,
Just, there's a lot of people out there besides for games.
are the vending machines at the pool, are those privately owned or city owned?
They're privately owned. We don't own, the city doesn't own any. you know.
Right.
Right.
I just wonder if we just, no, maybe I'll be blunt, and just say, we probably need to stop asking and start telling, and be like, hey, you guys, if you want the concession stand open, you need to work it, kind of thing, or, I don't know where to go with it. I mean, it's frustrating.
Hopefully the music association will cover it, and that would cover games.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully we can get
Yeah,
the
right,
games
yeah.
covered, yeah. and-
Yeah.
Well, the good
Talk to
news-
the associations.
The good news, they all showed up to talk to us.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, we agree.
that was the bonus. At least they showed up and we had a conversation. Did we get the answers we wanted? Probably not, but at least they came and talked with us. I mean, so that's a good first step. At least I think we established a good line of communication with those dudes, so.
And I think the booster clubs, when I talked to Kim with their, I think they're getting pretty good concessions from the games with the
Yeah.
high school. So, you know, if maybe some of the other associations start hearing that you can make some money at it, then maybe that
Right.
might
It's a good
get them
point.
to take the plunge and, you know.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, maybe next year too, it's kind of, we're talking about doing fees per
Right.
child or per team
Right.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe a percentage of that fee goes towards that RFP to say, you know what, hey, we'll pay you a little bit to come in and run that too. Maybe that's where we need to go with it as well. I don't know. So,
Has this been opened up? I know that the main focus would be, of course, school, sports, things like that, music, that's what the school. Has anything been talked about, even like if you have hometown Christmas instead of,
Right.
that actual nonprofit organizations, instead of people constantly coming and asking the city for money, that they actually do some fundraising. Like,
Right.
I'm on part of several to do fundraising, and that would be a way to actually go and do the work and do some
I've
fundraising.
compiled a list, so that's kind of our talk if the band doesn't take it.
Then we're
I
gonna go
compiled a
over that.
list of all the school organizations,
Right.
and then the PTA, the booster clubs, after prom, the churches.
Yeah.
Like you said, the downtown, the sports complex committee,
Yeah.
they're kind of a list of other nonprofits, within town, organizations that could look at fundraising.
Right.
So,
Yep.
You got
that's
Jamboree
like I said, maybe
days
the
and-
second tier that we reach out to.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a good idea, Michelle. I mean, I think, because the taxpayers spent, and that is a need up there, right? I mean, that's what we were told.
That's what we were told.
And there's a lot of people knocking on the city's door for money, and I think there's a good way to help out, to earn it or to get out there and,
Yeah.
Yeah, that
a
it's
good
not
idea.
just given. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all in, where we actually have to work a little bit for
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
And it actually helps the sports complex and helps the
Yeah.
kids and the parents, and it's pretty much a win-win, so.
Yep.
Great point. That's on our radar.
So yeah, so I'm sure there'll be more discussion on the 19th with the Park and Rec Board, and we can update you at our next meeting on the 20th.
Yep.
So,
And I would say now that we've had those guys in for one meeting, I would say that should be a minimum, a quarterly deal. We have them, invite them to come. Because I really think I think we had a great conversation. It was good to have them here and have some conversation.
Or at least like pre-season.
Yeah, at least, get them in here and so we can have a talk. Because they shared a lot of stuff with us, which I thought was good too, because they're using the fields and they're using the stuff, so.
yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, so, all right, anything else, Teresa?
unless you guys have questions?
Just the red, just so for my train of thought, cement stabilized sub-base, still using the millings off of Western for the actual surface of the parking lot there. Just want something correct?
Yep.
Okay,
Still the
yep.
plan.
It is stockpiled out at Zacharias's.
Oh, sure.
So they hauled it, they didn't want to mill it down here or grind it down here because of the noise, the mess, so they
Yeah.
hauled it all out there. They know that it's for us. I'm hoping that Zach will give us a heck of a deal to go out there because then he can just haul it from his out there.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's kind of the maintenance.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, we'll move on to new business. First up is review requests for proposals for the open liquor license that we have. And we had an application put in, correct?
Yep, we put out the RFP, as you know, they were doing the 15th. We have one applicant for it. There were several criteria in that RFP as far as, you know, what they propose to do with it, location, building size, how they run it. The applicant has plans to move forward with the new building, just doesn't have kind of all that information lined up at this point. Bob Gillen is the applicant that submitted it, so can answer any questions, but his proposal is in the packet for you guys to review. Don't know if you have any questions. Staff's, kind of my recommendation at this point, you know, let him gather some additional information, maybe put this on hold, not give it out to anybody else in the meantime. Put it on hold, see if maybe by the next meeting or next month, we have some additional information and we can have that conversation with him.
Yep. Is that fair, Bob? What do you think?
Yeah, biggest thing is land, finding land that makes sense for, and I'm open to suggestions. What we're gonna do is, it's not only gonna be for the new restaurant and event center, but we're gonna actually bring our candy store from Sioux Falls out here. We're gonna bring our CD store out.
Why don't you step up here, Bob, so we...
Don't, my only, my request for that is, because the folks listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't hear,
Yeah.
the chairs, but you can hear from the podium much better.
What our plan is,
Thank you.
and I've been working with a few people on some land. So land is expensive. The ones that I found, it's $1 million for what we're looking at. So you're gonna spend $2.5 million doing what we want to do. Ideally, I'm looking for some land, $600-700 or something like that. I mean, I'm still working on that, but location-wise has been a big thing for me. So I personally want to go out by the interstate, and that's just, I think it's better for dollar-wise what we're going to have invested to pull some interstate traffic for that. Part of it is, you know, I looked at out on the east side. I don't know the traffic flow. We're going to draw some Hartford people out there for sure, but I don't think you're going to pull anybody from the interstate. So to build that out there, you might save $300,000-400,000, but in the long run, it's not going to really pay off. So we've been looking by the interstate. We've looked at several pieces, still negotiating with a couple people. But our plan is to build an event center, a new restaurant. We will do, we're going to bring our candy store out here probably maybe a year from now, and then we'll make that it'll be more of an attraction for South Dakota, really, is kind of what that's going to be. So, and then the other thing, we're going to put in a drive-through coffee, smoothie, whatever. So that's the plan to do that whole project. The liquor license part of it, I don't think when we do the restaurant and the event center that the liquor license would be needed at that particular location, but our plan is to change the goat into pool hall, dartboards, video audio, of course, and then we're going to do pizzas and bar food, whatever. So that's kind of what we were thinking. We could maybe transfer that license to that if it didn't meet the 40%.
Okay.
For that part.
Yep.
So that's kind of the plan. The first part is to get land. So I'm hoping to have something resolved within the next week or so on the land. I've looked at several pieces, negotiated, just can't seem to get, whatever, it's just too expensive. So when you're spending that kind of money, you need to do what makes sense for traffic flow, what makes sense for financial wise, and to make sure that it's going to survive. So that's kind of, we have the staff to do what we need to do and the people to bring in to run all this stuff, but it just all has to make sense. So, it's a little bit complicated.
How much land are you looking
Well, I want 4 acres, probably is probably the minimal. I've tried buying the land out by the hotel, and I just can't seem to get that put together at a reasonable price. You know, there's land over here, but then that's in a floodplain, so you got no utilities out there, so you don't have no water, sewer. That's gotta be dug underneath the Western Avenue, so that's an expense, plus you have to fill in. So I've looked at that piece over here, and cost-wise, I just don't know that it's feasible for, you'd have to haul a lot of fill. And then you start dealing with the floodplain, I don't know what that's gonna entail, it could be a mess. So we've looked at that, I looked out here, I'm still working on a piece out here. I know the city has one over here, but it's only like an acre.
Right.
If we were just gonna do a new restaurant and event center, we could easily do that with a lot less. But for what I wanna do to make it financially feasible, I'm paying $8,000 a month in Sioux Falls for a building now for rent. So, and it does well, but we wanna bring that, and I can transfer that expense into this project.
Right.
And draw more people, I think. So that's kind of the plan to make it so it all works together.
Right.
What's the timeline on turning over those ponds out there? I guess that's maybe more of a question for ISG. Could be a year?
It's really up to us.
More, yeah, it's up to you guys, when you wanna spend the money to
So,
renovate them.
you know, Bob, we own the lagoon land.
Yeah, and I looked and I don't know what you guys were doing there, because you guys, was it the school that bought, or is the city?
Yeah, school bought it
School.
in front of that,
Okay.
coming north from that. The school owns 25 acres there.
Well, the other piece I was looking at, I think I asked, I don't know if it was Amy or who, but you guys have that property out at 38, but then
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of, who knows where that's gonna be, or what's
Yeah.
gonna be done with that, or whatever. So that's the other piece I looked at, and I also looked at some out there, but they're not willing to sell. So I am dealing with Gerald Cressman on his property, so, but he wants somebody to buy the whole thing, which is a lot of money. So I'm working on that piece now, and actually, I think I've got something kind of figured out, but I'll know here within the next, he's out of town, so we can't get nothing done until probably another 2 weeks on that.
Right.
But I think we can still come to an agreement on it if that works. If that doesn't work, then I'm gonna be open to, I don't know.
Well, that's why I bring it up. I mean, it's a ways out, I would say, but it's an option down the line. And you're not gonna be right off the exit, but you'll have plenty of signage right along there too, so. Like I said, I think we've gotta do a lot of things to it before.
How much area is that?
71 or so.
Wow.
We got a
Oh, you
big,
got plenty of them.
we got a nice chunk there.
Oh, yeah.
We're not looking.
Swimming, one of them could be a swimming pool, one of them could be a wading pond. You know.
I think Craig mumbled the city shop.
Oh, yeah. One of the areas our city superintendent thinks is gonna be his shop.
4 acres,
Yeah.
there's still, 65 acres left for a shop.
He might get a 10 by 20.
Well, that's kind of the
Okay.
hold up really is the land, and, I've got my financial stuff all in place, and my bank is ready to go whenever we get the whole project put together. So it's just a matter of getting the numbers to meet what I want to meet.
Well, we know that with our land there, we know that we're gonna have to be doing something, I'll call it aggressive. We wanna make sure that, we think we got a pretty good sellable piece there.
That's probably 2 years away.
Yeah, that's a ways off. That's the only problem. We're a ways off. But we think that that's going to be a nice piece of ground if we can figure out,
Something to do with it?
yeah, we know we're gonna have a huge expense. I don't know how else to say it. We're gonna have a huge expense remediating it and getting ready to go. So,
Yep.
so we got some things we gotta do.
But I will say
But
too.
for 6 or 7 or 800,000, we'd sell a few acres.
It seems to be the going price. I think it's a little bit high, but yeah. My plan was though, since they're doing Western Avenue, is to build it this year and be done by the time they open that up.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what I wanted to do, is get it all put together and start on it as soon as we could, just because it's just gonna be an expense till you get open anyway. So at that time, you're not gonna have any traffic or nothing
Correct.
anyway, so.
That's something, it's, the reason why I brought it up is just it's on the back burner, you know.
There'll be other development out there.
I'll be dead by the time you get something.
Yeah.
No, we hope you won't be dead by then.
The other,
Sign a check before that happens, just,
Yeah, leave it like
yeah.
that.
Well, hopefully your deal works out.
Well, and I think it will. I've known Gerald a long time. We get along, and it's just a matter of, I don't know, it's just money, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a matter of making it work, but, and part of that is, so in that piece that I'm looking at, there's 2 streets that are cut off there.
Correct.
That has to be something done with that as well, so that's a little bit of it. He's a little concerned on that too, to make sure that doesn't block the rest of his property, and then make sure that the city has access to some of that back in there as well.
yeah. So the other one I had too was, this has been 8 years ago, but I talked to Coffee Cup. They have some, I don't know if you talked to that, but in between the Coffee Cup and the interstate, that ground is theirs that they're, willing to sell just as long as it's not a gas station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's, I'm trying to think, is that,
It might be just an acre probably.
is that it? I don't know. I
Are you
just know
talking
he told
about on
me.
the east side by the church, or are you talking like their?
West
parking-
side.
I was talking
West side
the
of-
west side between.
South of their parking lot.
Yeah, south of their parking lot.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's and I'm not sure, that's not Harms?
I think it is.
Oh, it is
Yes.
Harms, yeah, so,
Yep, it is.
and I literally just cold called them, just called them out. of the blue.
Well, they own the piece across the street as well.
Yes.
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 But it's only, I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
that's
an
only-
acre or whatever it
yeah.
is, but, and then, there's some other stuff over here, but once you get further away from the interstate, and for the cost of that land, it doesn't make sense, because you're so far off the interstate, I'd rather pay a little bit more for the land and be closer to
Right
the
on.
interstate. Other than that,
Have some land
I just
there.
go out to the
Don't they set that
softball
back
thing,
there
and buy some
behind
land,
that
or
Correct.
there,
Right.
or out on the east side.
Right.
church? By that tower back there?
Yeah. Well, I would say, unless there's, the council has any reservations, I would say we can set on this thing for a meeting or two, let you get some of your stuff done, and then come and talk to us. I don't think we'll take any action, and I don't know that we'll have anybody else. Our deadline is passed, correct?
Yes.
I don't think we'll have anybody else, so we'll, and I don't think any of us up here is gonna say we don't wanna have a new restaurant in town. That'd be
Right, we need-
fantastic.
The goat is fine, whatever it is, but it's an old building, I can't buy it, he won't sell it, so you can't make it any different than it is.
Right.
So you gotta.
You want something ground up, you can
I want
kind of,
something nicer, and I don't like to rent anyway, I just rather own it. and
Right.
I can do what I want, but, so that's kind of the,
your candy store deal, are you looking at that, in a smaller scale, what they got over there in Minnesota along the 169?
so, wow.
Or whatever
See,
that
yes
is,
and
60
no.
or whatever that is.
We're gonna make, if we move that candy store out here, and it all makes sense, the plan is we'll just make the largest South Dakota candy store
Sure. Okay.
to market off of what they do. And
Yeah.
I know those people over there, and we have the same rep and whatever, but, I just think it'd be a big draw. There's other things that we kind of want to do with it, but it'd be a big draw into Hartford.
Right.
Just right off the interstate, and you'd be able to draw some people off it. That's my thought, but,
Well, that one in Minnesota, man, I'll tell you what, they kill it.
oh, it's huge. Oh.
They
make
kill
more
it
money
over
than-
there.
Yeah, it's
It's
huge,
crazy.
you know? Yeah, and they started by just.
And I stop there every time I go.
Yeah, I do too.
So,
But yeah,
well,
so that's kind of the.
all right, you guys, anybody got any questions for Bob?
Not yet, but I love it, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Keep in touch.
Sounds good.
All right? All right, review approved transportation alternative grant. Wow, that's a lot of words.
So this is for our trail, the south side of Nicholson, that'll go from Patrick to Turtle Creek Drive. So basically, we need a motion to approve the agreement, and it mimics previous agreement we had to them when we put in previous trails. It's standard language that the DOT uses. Just approve the agreement, and then the motion has to include to approve the mayor to sign it too. It has to be part of the motion.
Motion to approve the transportation alternative grant agreement and the mayor to sign it.
You say that with kind of. Any other discussion on that? And we're gonna start on this pretty soon, right?
Haven't done by this year.
Okay, that's the plan.
Impressive.
All right.
It's a dangerous area for people to walk on the street there, because it goes down and curves. It's not good.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's gonna be nice. All right, any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right. Next up, review, approve abatement for parcel 23454. It's in your packet.
Make a motion to approve the tax abatement for parcel 23454.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right. What do we have here? Hold on. Trying to get caught up. Next up, the next one is trying to get lights on the sign out there at exit 390. So in a conversation I had with a couple folks from Sioux Valley, I had them put together a quote to get lights on the Welcome to Hartford sign. And that information is in here. It's, must have ran right by it. $6,300 to get the wiring and the pedestal ran over to the sign, and then about $75 a month. And we don't have this budgeted right now. Teresa's recommendation is that we just put it on the budget for this fall, budget it in and do it then.
I mean, we can also, we did have this on a possible recommendation for this year's budget, and we decided not to budget for it this year. If we talk about it again at our budget meeting in August, we can look at this option, maybe give us time to look at solar lights, or Craig had a thought maybe getting electrical from our wastewater plant, and then we won't have that monthly charge, whatnot, but you gotta pay for that boring across the interstate, so kind of outweigh those costs
Yeah.
too, or whatnot. So maybe we can gather some more information at budget and discuss this further.
Can we put a sign on the back side of that sign and charge them a minimum of $75 a month to cover our electrical costs? I thought it was a grand idea.
It is a great idea.
We could probably get some footages too and see if it's even
Yeah.
possible to take.
See if it, yeah.
Because like we were saying, if we took it from the sewer plant, you don't have that monthly expense. You could, we own all the property, so we could easily get the easements in place and everything. like that
Correct.
for everything. So something to think about too.
Yep.
Just depends on what the cost would be, what size wire we'd have to run.
Suppose we could just run a drop cord over to Zacharias.
Run across the interstate.
Yeah.
I mean, LEDs don't take a lot of power, but that is a long
What about that
way.
little piece of land there? What is that ever, is there ever a practical use for that?
That 15 acres. Right now, we're kind of, I would say we're gonna slowly move forward with that, because we gotta make sure if our regionalization comes through, how we're gonna, because the connection point is in that land.
Where the sign is.
Go off toward the interstate, but yes, that's where the hookup is gonna be eventually, for the pipe to come from Crooks to go across underneath the interstate. So we don't wanna, I don't wanna get a business in there and then have to come back and say, oh, by the way, we're gonna tear all your stuff up and run a pipe through here.
Or try to pay for it
Turning out
back.
that highway right there is like a,
That's the other thing, Cindy, at a meeting we were at the DOT, boy, I'll tell you what, they are really gonna fight us on an entrance to that property.
And with the Highway 38 study, they're gonna redo the bridge at some point with that. Several of the designs take a big chunk of.
Of that ground.
Oh, really?
So, anyway, so
Kind of known at this point of what.
we really don't need to vote on this, we'll just put this on the budget.
Yeah, that's
Is that
good with.
okay with everybody?
Yep.
Okay, we'll get some more info then for.
Okay.
Budget about at least $30,000 to take away from the sewer plant.
I'd say $75 a month doesn't sound too bad.
It's 1,360 feet if you go at a right angle. And I don't think you're gonna wanna bore underneath the interstate,
I don't
that's
know.
diagonal, so.
Walmart has a pretty good sale on silver lights sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
Stick a couple into the
Yeah,
top
there's-
holes
yeah.
and clean them down. We're done here, I don't know.
Bryce, we could hire somebody like Jerry.
And you can replace them 50 times
Flashlight.
by the time we.
And this price doesn't include any of the fixtures or anything too.
Right.
So that's all an expensive
Right.
stuff too. so.
All right, last couple items on the agenda is elect the council. We always elect the council president and vice president at the first meeting of the new year. Presently, those positions are held by Travis as president, by Cindy as vice president. So first, I would ask for any nominations for council president.
Are you good again? Sure. Okay. I'll make a motion to have Travis Keel be council president.
Second.
Motion to cease nominations.
Second.
Can we do that all at once?
No.
I got to vote on first on the nomination, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
no,
yes.
you can, so you made the motion, you need the second one to cease nominations and cast unanimous vote for Travis, and that's the one we'll vote on.
Okay, gotcha. So we're calling a vote for Travis then.
Okay, that's what you want to do in the end, okay.
Good? Is that good, Tom? Do we need to,
Wait.
Roll call vote?
Second, then second.
say, yeah, we seconded
Both of them.
both of them?
Yep.
Yep, all right. So we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Wow. Drama. Horn?
Yes.
Keel and
Abstain.
Schilling?
Yes.
Okay. For vice president, presently held by Cindy Mattson, do we have any nominations?
Motion to have Cindy Mattson be vice president of the council.
Second.
Motion to cease nominations.
Second.
All in favor? Yeah.
And Cassie?
All in favor of those?
Cast the vote. Unanimous vote.
And cast unanimous vote, right?
Yep.
Okay. We'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Abstain.
Okay. We good? All right. The last thing on the agenda is mayoral appointments. At the first meeting of the new year, we always designate our official newspaper, healthcare facility, and depositories. What's that?
I said congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, congratulations, Travis.
Thanks.
We'll send flowers.
He's obviously thrilled.
Tomorrow morning. We usually only send those for funerals, but this is pretty
Geez,
much a.
I get congratulated a lot. I got a proposal for lights for the side. All right, I would like to designate our official newspaper as the Minnehaha Messenger. Can I do this all as one? Our official healthcare facility as Sanford Health, and our official depositories as First Interstate Bank in Hartford, Relia Bank in Hartford, and US Bank in wherever, Sioux Falls. Because they're not here anymore, Sioux Falls. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what makes me.
Motion to approve mayoral appointments as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes. Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Boen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right. I would entertain a motion for executive session for economic development and legal.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
out so good, Arden, you're just burning through that.
We burned through.
Sorry. But I knew we were gonna be talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
I wanted to get through the rest of the meeting. So, okay,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.